circle the wagons.
That's right.
We're going to make it through.
That's right.
I think our sound is better, but I would appreciate anybody who does join us live here to tell us if that sound is actually fixed or not.
Yes, please.
So, it's been a fun day of nothing but technical difficulties.
Yeah.
So again, we are in studio with the one and only Kent Rollins and his lovely wife, Shannon. You guys have been some road warriors over the last handful of weeks, haven't you?
It has been busy ever since about the 25th of March. We started out in New York City and did a deal for Fox and Friends, and then Chicago, Cleveland, and then south of Cleveland, and then after that it was El Segundo, California, Denver, and then Austin, Houston, Dallas, and then last week was Charleston, South Carolina, and then last night was Yukon, Oklahoma. But we're very proud to be like that old Don Edwards song.
Oh, yeah.
Tulsa time.
That's
today.
right, baby.
We're here at the Hasty Bake. We're going to get after it.
That's right.
Yeah. I didn't know what Don Edwards song you were going with there.
Did you not?
There's a couple of them that you
There
could
is
have
a
pulled out
couple.
of the... I don't know how you remembered all those cities, too.
Why? When you've rode that many miles, you don't forget them easy. It's like a horse that it might have bucked you off. You don't never forget.
Yeah, that's a good one right there. We are so excited that you're here. Folks are going to be in for a real good treat. If you're in the Tulsa area, and this is live, so we are saying Kent's here tonight at the Tulsa Grill Store. I think we're kicking everything off around 5, maybe touch earlier, and we'll wrap up around 7 or so. But he's got his brand new cookbook, which we are going to talk about here in a little bit, and kind of give you the rundown on what that is, and he'll be signing some copies of that.
Yeah.
Taking some photos. We got Berth out there for you to come put your hands on and say hi to Shannon and Mage
Major,
over here.
yeah.
He's
Bertha and Shannon, you're two women in
there
your
you
life.
go.
he's
Most
taking a little
favorite
nap
women.
over here.
Yeah.
I'm telling you. Yeah.
Major loves a
Mage,
podcast.
He knows how to do one of these deals.
There you
Is
go.
he in camera? I don't know if you
No,
want
we can.
Oh. No,
he
he's
kind of
not.
is. He
Yeah,
kind of
he's-
is.
yeah,
You
he's
can
down
see his
there.
little-
He's down there. When he pops up, he'll be able to say hi. I love it. Hey, let's start at the very beginning.
All right.
It's a very good place to start. I heard one
was
time.
just going
Yeah.
to say that.
Yeah.
Good one.
Where were you born and raised, Kent?
I was born in, really Wellington, Texas. Then we lived in Hollis, Oklahoma, down there right on the banks of the Red River, southwest Oklahoma. And was really, I guess, there till I was about 20 years old.
Okay.
We lived on a farm and ranch deal, but mostly it was more cowboy than it was anything else.
Right.
And run a bunch of old cows, but neighbored up and helped everybody on both sides of the river. So got to work with some legends.
Yeah, no doubt. What kind of cows y'all run?
Everything in the world.
Really?
The neighbors, if we could get them. But,
I'm sure they came over every now and then.
Yeah.
It's
But,
getting them back that's the problem.
no, we were a lot of black white-faced cattle.
Okay.
Something that stood the heat down there in our country.
Yeah.
A lot of crossbred cattle too, but something that could get by in a pretty good drought.
Yeah.
We're always in one.
Yeah,
Yep.
absolutely. You were raised in that environment, and you broke out and rode the rodeo circuit for a little while, right?
Yeah.
Just a little while.
Just for a little while. My oldest brother, he was really a great roper and a bull rider, but then he went training cutting horses. But long before that, he told me, he said, "I'm going to teach you how to ride bulls." And I said, "It'd be one of my better things in life." So at 8 years old, he had put you on something and tie your legs underneath its belly, And I said, "I don't think they do it this way." He said, "You'll learn fast."
That's a whole different kind of mutton busting at that age.
It was different, but I rode bulls a long time going through high school, but then I quit
Right.
there for a while and started back when I was really about 26,
Okay.
and competed on the circuit really hard. Made a good living at it. Good Lord took care of me, for a long time. Still riding bulls really good when I was 36, but the ground was 10 times as hard as it was.
I
You
can
didn't
imagine.
bounce no more. You couldn't get
Right.
up as quick. You got run over more. 2 broke ribs wouldn't take but maybe 4 weeks to heal. Now taking 10 weeks to heal.
Right.
So it was a little different, but I judged some rodeos after that, some bull ridings, even when I was in my 40s, and people would say, they got them old timer association. You can get in them, and I'm thinking, I don't know, but every time I'd get around one, I'd think he fell off something I could ride.
There you
Right.
go.
Right.
So I finally just said, I need to quit going. Or I'm gonna get back
Yeah.
on one.
I don't blame you. And it only takes one time
Oh,
for,
yeah.
for you to realize, hey, I could have ridden that 10 or 15 years ago.
Yeah.
But
Right.
yeah. Oh, that's fun. So you're tired a little bit out of the rodeo circuit. And
Yeah.
I'm sure you went to doing nothing, just sitting around because you seem like a real lazy person.
Yeah. I just after that I sat on the porch and read Esquire magazine
Right,
and stuff like
right.
that.
Right.
Do you even know what that is?
Not really, But
He heard it's a magazine.
That's right. That's right.
if you didn't get Western Horseman or the
say.
Livestock Journal, that's about all you had.
Right.
But,
You did get asked to model for GQ once, though.
I
That
did.
was
I
interesting.
did.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you do it?
No, I turned them down because I was cooking on a ranch South Abilene, Texas, and they have a big heritage festival Mother's Day weekend down there.
Right.
It's a classic. And they said, "Hey, Kent, we'll pay you entry fee. You want to go over and get in that chuck wagon cook off?" And I said, "I've cooked all my life. I don't want. I'm through." "No, come on. It'll be a good time. We'll take you over and we'll help you set up camp." And we got over on a Thursday and set up camp. And this lady come by, had this briefcase, and she laid this stuff out there. And she said, I've been looking at you for quite some time now." And I said, "Usually, ma'am, it don't take that long for me to scare people off." And she said, "No," she said, "I really like your features." She said, "I'm with GQ magazine." She said, "I guess you know what that is, don't you?" And I said, "I ain't got a clue, darling."
No,
And,
no, ma'am.
She said, "It's Gentleman's Quarterly." She said, we really put out a really nice magazine, and I'd like to shoot you one day in your surroundings, your clothing, and what you do. And then the next day, we would like to shoot you in English writing apparel." And I said, "Ain't gonna happen, sugar."
Yeah.
I've rode a lot of things in my life and even been in an English saddle, but I said, I don't think I want to wear one of them little coats and some of them leggings. And
That's really why they wanted you to do it.
yes,
Correct.
They were
think
trying to
wanted
coax
see
you
it.
in.
Yes.
Correct.
Oh, that's amazing. I love that. So you jumped into after your successful modeling career.
That's
Yes,
right.
Of course.
Short but successful.
Yeah, it was very
Nonetheless.
successful. I can remember, I still riding bulls just a little, and I got the opportunity to help my uncle guide some elk hunters in the Gila Wilderness. It was the oldest wilderness and really the first one put in by Roosevelt. And it's the Gila Wilderness, north of Silver City, New Mexico. Great country. A lot of big trophy elk come out of that country. And he said, "Hey, I need you to help me guide some hunters, but I need to cook." And, I've cooked a long time. This is 31 years with a wagon, but I'd been cooking ever since I was 10, 11 years old. And it's a whole lot of difference in cooking at 9,000 foot than there is at sea level or anything else, So it took me a while to figure it out. But I did about 4 or 5 seasons out there, and we'd go in sometimes, last of July and come out right before first or second day of December, and it's
a long season.
It's really the same thing as what I was doing when I got a chuck wagon. We just packed it in on a mule instead of packed it in on a wagon, But it was in one of them long trips back home that I got to think, I think I'm gonna get me a chuck wagon, go back to cooking for some of them ranches. Cowboys know me pretty well because I worked on some of them, but they got to where they respected me really well because I've been on both sides of the fire.
Yeah.
The cooking fire to the branding fire. And word of mouth in the cowboy circle really takes off pretty quick. If you was a good cook and fed the crew well, you could cook anywhere you want to. And, there was some years that was really busy, 206 days in a teepee on different ranches, and that's out there in Mother Nature's kitchen and some of the greatest places really I've ever been in my life.
Yeah.
That was 206 days.
Yes. That's a long time.
Yeah. That's a really long
That's
time.
a long time.
That's not at one stretch. You
Yeah, of
scattered
course.
it
Yeah.
out a little,
Did you have like your 7x7 teepee, or was this like
I
a
was,
condo? Or?
No. At that time, I had a little old 7x7 teepee, and you couldn't stand up in it.
Yeah.
To get
Did you have a
dressed.
cot at that time, or was it just
No, when I
bedroll
first
on the
started, it was
ground?
just a bedroll on the ground. Then I got me a cot, and I thought I was at Holiday Inn.
Yeah.
Yeah, I bet.
And I remember my mother, I'd been gone about 5 weeks one time, come home to sort of restock, had a couple of weeks off, and she said, "Don't you just miss home?" And I said, "Yeah." I said, "But what I really miss is a stand-up shower, carpet, and a sit-down toilet." I said, "Them things are precious commodities." They
Yeah.
really
You learn to
are,
appreciate those. I
That's
bet.
right.
The finer things in life.
Right.
Oh, that's funny. Walk us through a typical day of ranch cooking. Like what kind of hours you getting up? How
Well,
does that whole thing roll out?
It's starts early. A cook puts
No,
in,
early is like 5:30, maybe.
Now, that's lazy.
Brunch time.
Most ranches that I was ever on, especially if it's in the spring, because you're done back onto what they call daylight savings time, so it's getting light earlier. If you're in the middle of the country, breakfast was probably going to be pretty close to 5, so you're going to get up at 2:45. If you were back up towards Wyoming, Montana, somewhere where you're in a little different time zone, and closer that way, it's going to get light at 5. So you're going to get up at 2. So you try to figure your schedule out to where, hey, I'm going to try to be in bed by 8 o'clock. I never did sleep well when it was still light.
Yeah.
It took me a long time, but I can remember one of the first ranches that Shan went with me on, and it's 300,000 acres, and we was going to do nearly 6 weeks. And she said, what time did they say breakfast was? I said, 4:30. I said, we'll get up about 2:30. And she said, we're never going to get no sleep. And I said, oh, yeah. I said, Cowboys, you get up 2:30, you feed them, because you got to make bread, let it rise. You got to make coffee. You got to do everything else that goes with it. Then you wash the dishes. They're gone. It's still dark. You can sleep till 9:30, and get up and start over again. So you really figure it. And like all them old men ever told me on the ranches, hell, you can rest when you die. It's time to work now.
That's true. That's true. You slow down, you die too. So
Yes.
That's right.
momentum is a powerful thing.
It is. But days usually always started from 2:45 to 3:30, and it's like I told somebody that's asked me about Shan going on a ranch one time, and I said she's the toughest person I've ever cooked with because she knows there's no days off, there's no spa days, there's no vacation days, but you still getting to see Mother Nature in its finest and what God created out there and meet some of the best people in the world in places that a GPS and a cell phone don't work, which is a blessing.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, absolutely. Your focus is a little bit different.
Yes, it is.
So they come back in for lunch?
Yeah, they'll come back in. We make a menu and a grocery list, and I usually add 5 days to it because you never know what Mother Nature's going to bring with it. But a cow don't own a watch. She don't know what 12 o'clock is.
Right.
If they're through, they'll try to get up there in a reasonable manner because they know we're going to have it ready at 12, but we still got to be under them capabilities to keep it warm to 2, but also have it ready at 11:15 if they show up early.
Right.
So you learn to improvise pretty well. I sort of know in a lot of them ranches where they're working and what pastures and what they're doing. And if they don't have any trouble from years past, I think, well, they're working over here today. That's a record pen, so they're going to be here. They ought to be here by 12 o'clock, so we'll go with that.
Yeah.
And they'll leave out after lunch. We have a little downtime there usually. And then it's time to think about supper because we make homemade bread 3 times a day. We make dessert twice a day. So people ask us a lot of times, how do you treat cowboys? And I said, I want them to be the best fed people in the world.
Right.
And because they burn a lot of calories.
Yep.
Absolutely. And then in bed by 8.
That's right.
Yeah, try. I remember one time out there on the Bell Ranch, it's 300,000 acres. And we'd been in about 3 weeks, and we was moving camp about every 3 days with a wagon and a team. And the old moon had come up. It was big and bright. And you always set an alarm, but alarm never did wake me up.
Right.
You just sort of get accustomed to it. And I remember jerking Shan out of that bedroll, and I said, girl, we are late. The sun is up, We jump out there, and I'm run over starting the fire at the wagon 12:15, just because that old moon was so bright. But people, you need to realize when you're out there in something that vast, it can be so dark.
Yeah.
That you think you can nearly reach and touch the stars. And that old moon felt like it was shining right on top of TP.
Oh, I bet.
So
No light pollution out there.
No.
Not a bit. I love it, man. Well, so you did ranch cooking for quite a while.
Yeah.
And you talked, Shannon's done some of that with you, but talk a little bit about how y'all met.
Well, 2000 and...
Should I direct that question over?
No, I don't. Well, we've been together 14.
Yeah.
We've been married 12. So somebody with a calculator, they can figure that
about
out.
2007, I would say, long in there, pretty close 2008. I get a call from the National Cowboy Poetry Festival and Gathering, which is held in Elko, Nevada, which is the largest gathering in the world. And they said, hey, we'd love for you to come up here and entertain and do a cooking workshop. And they said, we'd like for you to do really what you're known for, and that's chicken fried steak, mashed potatoes, gravy, and sourdough biscuits. And I said, hey, suits me. Well, we're going to have this young lady call you who's in charge of the workshop. Well, the young lady just happened to be Shan. And she called and reached out to me one day and asking me what I needed. And go ahead, Shan.
And they said, okay, you need to call this guy in Oklahoma. I'm like, okay, great. So I call him up, and I can't understand a word he's saying because Apparently, Oklahoma is not in the United States. I didn't know.
Gosh.
And over the phone, like I guess I just hadn't been introduced to a Southern accent. And to me now, I don't think your
No, you
accent
talk
is
just like
that-
Okie now.
No,
Yeah.
your accent's not that thick. So I don't know. I just wasn't used to it. And so when I'm nervous, I laugh a lot. And so the whole time on the phone, I'm like laughing. So he thinks he's hilarious. I
Right.
just don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
And so he gets there, and I didn't have all the right things, and it was interesting. But that was the first time we met.
Yeah.
And then it was maybe a year or so after that, I went down to his cooking school. I kind of helped him with some marketing stuff a little bit. Went down to cooking school, kind of found out what the chuck wagon was all about and Dutch oven cooking. I did not cook at all, let alone outdoor cooking. So that was all new. And then it was maybe a year or so after that, then,
She come back to cooking school one more time.
yep.
And, then she come back again, but that's when she decided that she'd just run the whole company.
It's an effective way
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
You know?
to make yourself known there.
Yes,
Right.
it is. But it's been it's truly a blessing to have someone that you can work with that you love, and you can do it 365 days a year together. You know,
I know Nick feels the same way.
I feel like I see you more these days than I see my wife.
Oh, that's accurate.
So
That's correct.
you're not that far off there, bud.
Yeah.
So you got an opportunity that really kind of spun off a new whole direction for your life. You got tied in with the Food Network.
yeah.
How did that happen?
I'd done some work for the Food Network off and on. I think one of the first ones really was PBS, and then it was QVC so many years ago. And then the Food Network hollered, and we did a special with Roker on the Road when Al used to have a show. And then it wasn't long after that, and they called and they wanted to do this chicken fried steak deal. And but me and Shannon was on a ranch north of Wichita Falls, Texas, and she got a call from a casting director that I knew that lived in New York City, and said they were going to do this Chopped Grill Masters, and they'd like to have a cowboy on the show since it was being filmed in what they called cowboy country on a cowboy location, And so Shannon was telling me about it, and I called Beth back, and I told her, I said, honey, I ain't never seen that show. She said, well, you ever pull up episode on the computer and you watch it, Shannon pulled one up, and I said, ain't no way. These people crazy. I don't know if how many of y'all listening have ever seen the show Chopped, but they don't buy their groceries same place we buy them.
No.
I mean, I don't know where they get them. It's stuff you can't spell and stuff you ain't never seen.
A lot of French things.
Yeah.
Yes, and weird vegetables that don't grow in Oklahoma, and
Right.
things called clams that you need water for that we ain't got in southwestern Oklahoma.
Right.
But it was really a challenge, and I think Shan said it best for me one time. She said the reason that you did well in that is you learned to improvise on so many ranches by not having this, or hey, it's fitting to blow at 90 miles an hour, you're going to have to cook in it,
Right.
So we made it the finals the first day. In my round, I won that one, and then we went on to the finals and ended up getting second. When that thing aired, we filmed it in March, it aired in August, and the phone rang off the wall, from producers to everybody else. And but really, we have the best book agent in the world, and she reached out to us and said, hey, y'all need a cookbook, and
Which had always, at that time, had always been my dream.
Yeah.
We had kind of self-published, I think maybe one or two at that time, but I always wanted like a
Yeah.
nice.
And that
book,
was
so.
that was 2013. Our first book, A Taste of Cowboy, is a book that was really modeled after how we cook on a wagon,
Right.
and how the lifestyle was and everything else. And it just sort of launched everything. That book is still a bestseller on Amazon today, and it's always been really one that I've always looked back on. I guess we were so proud of all of them, but that first one, we didn't have a clue what was going on when we made it. And a lot of people have people come in, they have ghost writers, and have somebody take the pictures and all this.
Right.
We do it all. We write it all. Shan takes all the scenery, all the food pictures. So it was a learning experience the first time it was.
Yeah, I bet. Do you feel like, and we'll talk here in a little bit about your other cookbooks, but do you feel like you've learned over the years to be a more effective writer in those kind of things, or is it just you just got so many stories to say, to tell and recipes to put out, you just kind of keep putting out your thing?
I'm going to let Shan tell that.
Well, Kent's always a good storyteller, and he's got tons. In fact, before all that, I was like, you need to start a blog, or you
Yeah.
need to, and he, what's that? But he's the storyteller, and then I'm like the punctuation person.
Right.
So, I go in and do the editing.
Right.
But with all of our books, I think what makes them unique and what we always want to do is that we say, if you buy this book and you never cook a recipe out of it, you're still going to get value out of the book because it's so much more than recipes. We've got all the ranch pictures, and then Kent's storytelling, and even cowboy poetry, which is, I think, very unique for a cookbook.
Right. Yeah.
So it's a full experience.
Did you? I've read one and thumbed through your other ones. It's a lot. Recipes are outstanding, right? I feel like there's so many more stories that you can tell. That you probably got another 10 books worth of stories out there. I don't know if you're planning on doing another 10 books, but I guess what I appreciate is some of your stories to us are just like so huge and so hilarious. But I also feel like to you they're like, that's just a Wednesday.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Exactly. That's why I'm like, tell me that story.
It's a
again.
different
Like,
experience when you're living it versus people who don't live it that way.
Them old men on them ranches and all them old cowboys I knew, they said every story on a ranch or something about a cowboy or something about a horse was always funny, but it always caused pain to someone. That's the way they looked at it. And they said, as long as it wasn't us, we thought it was really funny.
There you go.
But I've been very fortunate all my life to be around some really great cowboys, some really great people, and they weren't all cowboys. I can remember an old man that used to sit in front of an old cotton gin down there at Hollis that they called High Pockets, and he always had a pocket knife, and he was always whittling on a piece of wood. But he taught me a lot in 30 minutes.
Yeah.
It wasn't about whittling; it was about life.
Yeah.
And there's so many people out there. If you just take time to sit down, listen to them, visit with them, there's a story.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think most of us don't take the time that we should to really let the old timers talk to us.
Yeah. I can remember sitting in a branding pen and I was 10, 11 years old, and because Daddy'd say, hey, you just stay in there. We'll gather and we'll bring them to you and old Joe. And I don't know why they thought they really needed to tell me these stories, but it'd be something like, you're going to learn a lot, but it ain't going to all come from a saddle on a horse. You treat horses like you treat people, and you look for a kind eye in a horse just like you do in people, dogs, and children. And he said, you'll always get along with dogs, horses, and children. And always used to tell people that say children gravitate to you and dogs. And I said, we all have the same size brain, but kind-hearted, I think is really, you think of cowboy and you think of rough and rugged and all this, but there was such a deep-rooted tradition of family and values more than anything else. I think if you was true ranch and true cowboy and you were steward of the land and you took care of it with pride and honor.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it, man. There's a romantic side to that, and maybe romantic's not the right word, but I feel like it is.
Yeah. It's very romantic when you can. I remember when Shannon went with me the first time, and she said, "I'm not going to sleep on one of them bed rolls. We're going to get a full size, one of them queen size air mattresses. And
like
putting that
army grade.
Yes, 9x9 teepee. The bed was, when we say 9x9, that's the floor
Right.
Right.
and everything.
So you stand in the middle.
Yes.
That's correct.
But the air mattress that she bought was 9x9. You didn't have to look for it when you opened the door.
Right.
It was there. And it's probably,
dove right
yeah,
in.
it was 2 foot high. It was nice.
Yeah.
And you never needed an
45
alarm
minutes.
clock because it'd go flat by 2 o'clock every morning.
There you go.
Yeah, and I did some research on that too. And
That
No,
ground
you-
gets
you go-
cold and it gets hard.
That old plastic get cold, I'll tell you for sure.
it was bad.
Oh, it does. I love it. You still take your 9x9 air mattress out to the
Oh, we've been through a bunch of different ones.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, the 1999 Coleman is the best.
Oh, I believe that.
Don't go all fancy
Yeah.
because no.
Yeah, we've
so-
got one now it's like a pop-up queen-size bed.
Right.
What's crazy
but
to
it's got a
me
Coleman
is
on it.
he has a very particular teepee setup.
Yeah.
I just whatever, I'll jump in, it's fine. But he's got like the mattress, and then he's got this like foam pad that goes on it, and then he has his favorite blanket, all this stuff, and then he goes and cuts a piece of carpet from like an old sample, and we'll put it by the side of the bed because he says he loves when he gets out of bed, he has
Yeah.
to feel carpet on
Yeah,
his
it
feet.
feels so much better.
Yeah.
So, and then you got the milk crate that you
Yeah.
turn over, and he's got his little
It's your
nightstand.
nightstand.
Yeah.
Yep.
There you go.
I mean, it's very fancy in there.
I mean, there's recliners, ceiling fan, big
Oh, yeah.
screen TV.
Big screen TV
But
in
my
the corner. You
favorite,
got a
though-
full bar up on the.
My favorite story is when you anchored. We were in a camp, and there was just a bunch of junk. They had just moved in, and there were hunters that were in it before. They didn't have time to clean it up, and there was a old satellite dish
Yeah.
laying there, and he anchored it to the teepee and was trying to convince everybody that he could get satellite
Satellite?
in there, and
That's
they were going to
amazing.
watch like the pay-per-view game.
That's amazing.
You just turn the radio on that cell phone
Yeah.
a little bit at
And a
night.
lot
That's
of them
right.
were ready.
Oh yeah, they were ready. I had a cord running in the house, sir. We was ready
Oh,
to go.
that's amazing. I absolutely love that. Question for you: how do you find Hasty Bake?
How did I find them? Or how do I find them?
Well, how were you introduced to Hasty Bake?
Well, I can't remember who reached out to Shan about doing a barbecue cooking series classes, I think is what it was. And when it got time to come down there in our area, they said, this Richard Alexander is going to reach out to you.
Well, Hasty Bake, I think, was sponsoring
Yeah.
or putting on
Yeah.
this grill series.
And I can remember it was so hot, stinking miserable hot in last of June, and they come down and was filming, and Rich come down, and he was just really kept just eyeballing old Bertha, that wood stove, and I'd say, "You all right, Rich? I'm gonna make one of them." I said, "I don't know if you know what goes in one of them, Rich." I said, "It's 374 pounds of love right there, buddy."
Yeah.
And he said, "No, I'm gonna make you one of them."
And
I
it
really
was
am.
hot that
It was
day
so hot.
we were filming it. Was it June?
Last of June.
And it
Oh.
was
Yeah,
rough
it was
down there.
miserable
And you're
with
trying the
fire.
whole time to act like this
Yeah,
isn't a
this
bad
is
deal.
nice.
We
You
love
know,
this.
there ain't no sweat.
And I remember
Right.
all the camera guys were melting and
And me and Rich just sort of hit it off.
Right.
He's got that same mentality that really I do. That means we're going to have a good time every day.
Right.
We're going to work hard, but we just become dear friends. And he'd keep calling me and he'd say, "Hey, I'm going to make that birth stove. I'm going to make that thing," And we started a relationship, and it led me to get to meet y'all.
Right.
And it's been a great partnership. It has. And we always tell people, I'm going to team up with stuff that I know that's going to last. When you hook a team up to a wagon, you don't want a team that's going to run away. You want a team you can trust. And I have that with y'all and the sponsors that we have. It's the greatest team in the world.
Love it. Absolutely love it. We've had a lot of folks be introduced to our brand from you.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean,
All
I
the time.
can't tell you how many.
Yeah.
And the neat thing is too is I feel like there's a level of trust that your viewers have. We're going to get into your YouTube stuff here in a minute, but I'm probably even getting my head myself. But there's a level of trust that that they have. I think because they buy who you are, right? They know that you're a genuine person. They know that that you're an honest person, and they know that what you're communicating, whether it be a recipe or a story or just loving on them or caring on them, that there's genuine there. So when you tell them, "Hey, I use this because I like it," they don't listen to it as though they listen to an influencer out there
Yeah.
online who's like, "Oh, this is my favorite thing ever," and they just
Right.
got it in the mail 3 hours before they filmed the video. They just know like he's not going to steer me wrong.
I can
Right.
tell you, like from a business standpoint, it would be very easy to just start pushing a bunch of brands.
Yeah,
'Cause
sure.
A lot of people call out to us and offer some big money. But when you put your brand and all of that on the line, it's just not worth it.
Right.
And so
Yeah.
we're very, very careful
Yeah.
about what we recommend.
It's a different business model. The people who are just touting brands, and that's fine. I mean, if that's
It-
what you
it's
do,
Sure.
Sure.
that is 100% a business model.
Yep.
And you can make a living doing that, and there's nothing wrong with necessarily doing that, because at that point you're essentially reviewing a product,
Yeah.
right? But when you hitch your wagon to it, that's a whole different ballgame.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Because
There's longevity there.
If it's going to be something that I'm going to use, and I want our viewers and all our fans to be part of that, it's going to have to be something that I know that I can stand behind every day. Even though I may not have been there when it was made, I may not even know where it was made, in which part of this shop, or the people that worked on it.
Right.
But I know it's a quality product, and the best thing of all to me is two things. Number one, it's made in Oklahoma, and number two, it's made in the United States, and it's been going on since
48,
48.
75 years this
Yeah.
year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
This is
Yeah, it's our 75th. We're pretty
great.
this
excited
is
about it.
a great place and a class act.
Yeah, we appreciate that very much. So Rich and the team were introduced to you, obviously through your YouTube stuff and through Chopped and a couple of other ways. Let's talk about kind of the start of your YouTube. Do you remember the first video that you ever made on YouTube?
Yeah, I'd had a guy come down and film some stuff. It was at cooking school. I can remember I had a couple from Brandon, Manitoba that were there. I had a couple that was from Louisiana, and 2 guys that were from Gulf Shores, Alabama, in that class. Okay. And Shen put all this together at a later time because she wasn't there then, and we made that into our very first YouTube video.
And
so you had recorded the stuff ahead of time, and then later on you realized, hey, I can produce this into a video.
Yeah, and it was more just a marketing thing. Yeah. So I was just throwing it up like to promote the cooking school.
Right.
And then, got some views, and then I put up something else, and it got more views, and I was thinking, well, maybe this is something we need to focus on. And that was also at a time when, Kent was getting a lot of calls from producers for his own TV show and different things. And then especially after Chopped happened, it just kept building. But it never was the right fit. You get a lot of people, like in New York and LA, wanting a cowboy show and not having a clue what a cowboy is. And they wanted a real, yeehaw.
Right. They're not looking for an authentic
it was
experience.
As Kent says, it was reality. It wasn't real.
Right.
So it was just never a fit. And so at that point, I thought, we can control our own content. We can put it out when we want. We can say what we want.
No one can manipulate it later on.
That's right.
Exactly. Yeah. And so YouTube turned into a really, really great platform for us.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a real rawness on YouTube. Now you can produce something as fancy as you want to get, but you can also just be very, very genuine.
And I went through a phase where I was trying to be like Sundance Film Festival. I was trying to get it all polished. And I even had this great idea that I was going to get Kent a teleprompter. I was going to write out this script, and it was going to be so professional. And then I realized that was stupid. But the big turning point for me was, I think one time I left in a blooper, and everybody went
Loved
crazy.
It. Yeah.
And I thought, well, geez, that's a lot less editing for me. And so I like how YouTube's more casual than cable.
I think people like to see that everybody's human, and you're going to make a mistake, and you're going to laugh about it. That's before we started this, we talked about why we like doing live podcasts, and it's more honest, and I think it gives everybody a little bit better peek into what's going on rather than it just being something canned and edited.
Yeah.
So
100%. They feel like they're there with you,
right?
Yes,
and that's we get that compliment on this and the other podcasts we do all the time. It's my favorite compliment we ever get is, man, I feel like we're all just sitting on the couch with a glass of whiskey, talking to each other, telling stories.
That's ideal.
And that's what you want. You want to have that because that allows you to speak into them, and that allows them to speak into you, and you build a relationship with people that maybe you've never even met. It makes a big difference. At what point did you realize that this cooking video making thing, you could really leverage that into, the next step in your career?
Well, before Shannon come along too, when I sort of got to where I'm thinking, well, I'm just going to cook on these certain ranches, maybe 4 or 5 a year, some in the spring, some in the fall, because ranch cooks didn't pay much. We made twice what the Cowboys did. And if I'm making $40 a day, Cowboys making 20.
Yeah.
But when they'd always ask too, hey, we're gonna have you back down there like to cook for our family reunion or cook for a wedding. I remember one time I got to cook for a bar mitzvah. It was at that time was the largest group I'd done, 420 people. But those catering deals jumped in there, and they become a deal to where I think I can make as much on 3 caterings as I can make 3 weeks on a ranch. But which one do I enjoy the most? The ranch.
Yeah.
It was a peaceful time, really, in a way. But as you got so busy, really, with catering, we were looking at something that, how could we not do as much of that and do something else and still reach 10 times more people and make a living?
Well, and we, luckily, we had transitioned more online, before COVID hit, because had we not done that, COVID would have wiped us out.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have survived it. And so that was just an absolute blessing.
But
that we
probably
tried that.
really worked hard at YouTube 6-7 years maybe, and the thing I tell people about YouTube, and they'll ask us, how you know what if I want to start a channel? I say, number one, have it be something from your heart. Number two, do it with consistency and have a certain time that it's going to come out, that time, every day, every week, every month. And then you build that trust into your viewers that think, hey, this guy's genuine. I know I can count him to be there at 2:30, and we'll just go from there.
I mean, I think that's good advice for anybody who's trying to do anything. I guess the broad word would be in social networking, but realistically, anything live media like that is you got to be consistent. You can't build a following when people can't trust you. And I don't mean trust like trust what you're saying, but I mean when they can't trust that you're going to be there to provide for them, what they're looking for. That's really good advice.
Yeah, and there's, when you say social media, there's, with the way it is now, there's over 2.5 million subscribers on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, Snapchat, something I don't know, Star Trek, whatever it is.
There's probably 3 new ones that started
Yes,
today.
just today
alone.
That we don't even know about.
And it's a full-time job.
Yeah.
And she gets covered plumb up with it, but it's something really you have to work at to have that presence stay with you, to know that, hey, I'm going to connect with my fans. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. Makes a difference to them.
Yep, absolutely. You guys are very good about being very consistent and engaging with folks. I mean, we see that all the time on all the YouTube comments, all the Facebook comments. And I don't know if it was you or a team or anybody, but
and every morning Kent wakes up and he does YouTube. I'll do Facebook, and Instagram usually is me, and we've got a couple other people that do some help for us, but mostly it's us commenting.
Yeah, and it's people don't realize how time consuming that is.
Yeah.
And you enjoy it because you like to read the stories and hear the compliments and sometimes the critiques. But
it's so personal. We get messages from people, that say, hey, you got me through a really hard time, or I've had ones where, my dad passed away this morning, and they took, with all that's going on, they go on and they log on to the channel and they watch something that we've put out and they comment, and it's just like, it's unbelievable. It's a humbling presence.
It is that.
I think that's when you know that you built rapport with people, that it's more than just you entertain them.
Yes, yeah. And I think that was kind of a surprise for me, that it would go there. I'm just like, we'll just put out some food and see what happens, maybe make some people laugh. And then when it touches people like that, and when we say, thank you for allowing us into your homes, it's a great experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, so somebody left a comment in here, and they were talking about how they appreciate it because he can sit down with his family and not worry about the content, and that's huge, because there's a lot of things that you can't say, unfortunately, that about. You think, oh, it's just a cooking show, and then it takes a left turn, and you're like looking for the remote.
Yes.
So that's definitely something to be proud of.
I'm amazed at the amount of young families that watch us. When I was in South Carolina, Charleston last weekend at the Yeti store signing books. There was a little girl come running up there, and she was 5 years old, and she gave me a big old hug. And her daddy looked up there at me, and he said, we told her, today's your birthday. What do you want to do? And she said, I want to go see Cowboy Kent.
Oh, that's cool.
At 5 years old, I don't want to go to the store and get something to eat.
Right.
Well, and it's funny to me because I just kind of assume our general demographic is going to be like 55 plus male. Kent is killing it in to the 3 to 5 year olds right now.
Hey,
it's insane.
I think it's the dancing.
It's maybe and the dogs.
The dancing and the dogs. Let's be honest, it's the dogs.
There was one last night there that told me, she said, she has to watch. She's 4. She has to watch your videos before we go to bed every night. And I said, I have that effect on thousands of people that get sleepy when they watch.
Sleep just like that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. I love it. What opportunities has the YouTube channel provided for y'all that are just kind of mind blowing? Like, never thought you'd get the opportunity to be involved in that or meet that person or be in that place.
I think the thing that really still makes me feel very humble and so blessed is the amount of servicemen and women and veterans that watch, because at the end of every episode, we're going to tip that hat, we're going to salute that flag, thank all our servicemen and women and veterans for what they've done. And the emails and the letters that we get, the American flags that have come off battleships and cruiser ships, infantry places, that they're sending to us. I tell people all the time, you don't realize that maybe one word you say or one handshake or one smile can make a difference in somebody's life.
Right.
Everybody has that opportunity to make a difference, and that's really what it's about. I've told this story throughout the cookbook tour, and I'll tell it now. It was one of them deals in July where it's 111 degrees, and we had been filming pretty heavily, and you get burnt out.
Yeah.
You just got to where it's 145 when you build a fire. And I told Shannon, I said, I ain't got it in me. I said, we ain't going to film no more this week. I said, I'm burnt up. I get up 4:30, go in there and get in that recliner, and answering YouTube comments. And the very first one that day says, good morning, sir. My name is Lieutenant Corporal Cody Childers. I'm currently stationed in Afghanistan. What we did today was not pleasant. But he said there were 7 of us gathered around a laptop computer, and you made us feel like we were home. You make a difference. Please don't quit. And I told Shannon when she woke up, I said, my God, we'll cook every day. We have to.
Yeah.
4 weeks later, I get a letter from his mom. Cody had passed away from an IED had got him in Afghanistan.
Wow.
The flag that they flew over his service in Washington, D.C. flies at our wagon every time now. And I tell people, I'm not telling you that story to make you sad. I'm telling you to say what I said a while ago. You make a difference in someone's life. Everybody does. And just make sure you do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow, man, that's pretty special to have an impact in a life that far away, people that you'd never met. Again, I mean, they've let you into a spot where they'd only let their family and friends in, and you've earned that reputation, that right. With
we
them.
have been blessed far more than we deserve, and it's really an honor and a privilege to get to give back to people, and that's part of this book tour. It's something about we owe it to our fans because we truly have the best fans in the world.
Right. Yeah. I love it. What is your? I'm looking through some of the questions and comments that are coming in right now. What is your favorite thing about this new cookbook that you released? Is there a project that you worked on, a recipe you worked on, a story you worked on that you were just could not wait to get on people's attention?
There's so many unique classics that come from old greasy spoon cafes when I was growing up, and sure, we put our twist on them and a change, but somebody asked me the other night, what's your favorite thing in that cookbook? I said every one of them. But the smoked meatloaf, oh my gosh, I could eat that thing every day and twice on Sunday. But also the fried mac and cheese balls, it's got green chilies and bacon in them. That's a happy meal. It didn't come from McDonald's. It come right out of a cookbook. And oh my gosh, them things are good. But
old diner classics. There's a Oklahoma fried onion burger in there. So you've got and a lot of good regional foods, not even from our region. Like you are inspired a lot by, kind of Cajun cooking. So there's some of that in there. So
there's a lot of good traditional Mexican food
Yeah.
in there as well, because I cook a lot with just old dried chilies, you know, and there's so much flavor in one of them. But there's great stories in there, great pictures. You know, cookbook process takes nearly 2 years, you know, time you get in there. And you forget, really, me and Shandu, we always have to sit down and look at them when we finally get a copy back to think, oh, yeah, we put that in there.
Yeah.
You know, that picture's in there.
I've totally forgot about that one.
Yeah.
I love it. What is the best piece of fire management advice you can give? Because, I mean, you manage campfires to wood-fired stove to barbecue smokers to – is there a piece of fire management advice that you can hand out to people?
Never run out of coals.
Yeah,
Fair.
that's a good one.
I mean, especially if you're Dutch oven cooking, especially, you know, you can get by a little if you're low on coals, if you're grilling something, you know. I can make that work. But if you've got 16-inch Dutch ovens sitting out there with biscuits in them and you ain't got enough coals to fire them all up, it ain't like you can make them in a second, you know.
Right.
So always have more than you think you need. You can always put some in your pocket and take it home.
Right. Do you run a burn barrel when you're out chuck wagon cooking? I mean, burn barrel to make coals, or do you do it all in Bertha? Or?
It's all in Bertha.
Okay.
You know, we'll fill old Bertha plumb up a lot, especially in the wintertime. I love to cook when it's like 10 degrees, you
Right.
know, some of my favorite weather in the whole world. You fill that thing, fill her up plumb full of big old pieces of mesquite, you know, and let it burn down. It's a good hearty coal that's going to last a long time, and you just keep stoking it thereafter with, you know, some stuff. But I have run out, but I didn't run out but one time,
Right.
you know.
You learn from then
Yeah.
on. It's all or nothing. I love it. Kent, what's next for y'all? You guys, I know you're finishing
A
up
nap.
this nap. A week of silence. No, I mean you're coming to the tail end of this tour. It's been a lot of miles on the road, I'm sure. You have some projects you're excited about working on, or are you just looking forward to just sitting at home for a while and dreaming up what the next YouTube thing is, or?
You know, somebody asked me one time, so what do you and Shan do on your time off? And I said, we don't have any, you know, but really a vacation to me, or time off, is if we have time to sit on the porch and drink a cup of coffee with 4 dogs running around, you know, it's a day off. But, you know, Wagons for Warriors is coming up in Lebanon, Missouri, Memorial Day weekend. There'll be about 35 or 6 wagons there. It's an event that I look forward to every year because it's raising money for PTSD awareness and treatment around the Fort Leonard Wood area, but also around the United States. So it's something that it just, no matter how tired you might be from what's been going on before you get to this event, you're just really energized to see the people turn out that support this, you know. And after that, I'd sort of like to just maybe sit on the porch about 2 weeks.
There you go.
Turn the phone off. But we used to try to stay ahead on YouTube
gonna say-
videos, but we're just barely one ahead anymore.
Well,
you know.
so we've always done every Wednesday. We added a Sunday video the last maybe couple months.
Yeah.
And typically we've been a few weeks ahead, but I mean, so we don't have Wednesday's video shot yet. So
we'll
and
get it.
we'll get home Monday and like, what are we gonna do now?
Yeah.
Right.
Whatever it is, it'll be good.
So if we
Right.
could just get a couple ahead, that would
Yeah.
be a little breathing room.
it would.
Well, I'm sure you got enough requests in YouTube comments and everything alone to,
Yeah.
to like take a
You
look at.
always
and
got
then
ideas,
Gauge
yeah.
what people are
Yeah.
wanting from you. What's the most popular recipe people continue to ask for?
Oh, there's so many.
Chicken fried steak.
Chicken fried steak has always been big. The remake of the Big Mac on McDonald's.
That's great.
Yeah.
You know, people, I think it has over 7 million views. But also the Cowboy coffee.
Yeah.
Oh,
You know, that
right,
brought a
yeah.
lot of people
Yeah.
to our channel because they just didn't know you could make coffee like that, how
Right.
good it really was. So them are probably the things that they really ask about. But then you'll get some of them every once in a while that'll say, hey, I wish you'd cook this, and it'll be something I've never heard of, you know, and I'm
Right.
thinking,
Or-
hey,
We do get some, you know, we like with the Big Mac.
Yeah.
This looks great, but could you make a vegan version? Like, yeah, that's not really our channel.
Read the room. Yeah, read the room. Yeah. Thank you. That's one of the responses. Thank you for your comment.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We,
The end.
we get that on our videos all the time.
Yeah.
Like, do you guys ever cook vegetables? I'm like, we do, but they're not sexy.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, we cooked potatoes yesterday.
Yeah.
So we
kinda-
cooked a whole bunch of chicken thighs, and then we were like, well, we'll make some potatoes.
So hold up before you do that. So this is the background: is Zach and I, when we cook, we're meat cooks,
Yeah.
right? So we'll throw some sides on every now and
Sure.
then. But like what you're focusing on in our world is
Yes.
the meat. So
Right.
we're doing a brisket or a steak or chicken or whatever. And I guess being a little tone deaf as men are,
Yeah.
we don't often think about anything beyond the meat. So we hired Tiffany just over a year ago, our marketing assistant. She's amazing, but she. Every time we started cooking, she's like, "What sides are you cooking?"
We're
She
like,
she
I don't
eats
know.
meat, but like the
Yeah,
sides
but
are
like,
her
where's
thing, right?
the full?
yeah.
So we're like, well, we really didn't really think about
Yeah,
sides.
I don't know.
So like now we're kind of trying to make a conscious effort, right?
Yes.
So we'll have a day where we're gonna go cook, and I'm like, hey, I'm running out to the store. What do you guys want? No, we'll do chickens or steaks or whatever. And now I'm finally like, all right, so what sides do we
sides?
want?
Yep.
So I thought I was being real good yesterday.
Yeah,
We went down to the
We
store. We got some chicken. We're recipe testing some new seasonings. And I said, man, I'm going to get a bag of red potatoes, and we're going to make some kind of grilled, buttered, seasoned potatoes. And we did. We made them.
Yeah, and so we cooked the chicken, and the potatoes needed a little bit longer, and then we were getting ready for our brisket class last night, and
Opened up a grill.
and realized the potatoes had been out there for about 4 hours.
That's when you know they're done.
Yeah, they were done already.
There was an old man on a ranch many years ago asked me, he was telling me, he said, Kenny said, I had one guy tell me one time, said, so I see you're cooking that steak. What are you having for sides? He said, well, on this side I have a knife, and this side I have a fork.
There you
That's
go.
all you need.
There you go.
I love it. Yeah, you don't need them. They're enjoyable.
That's right.
But you don't always need
Non-essential.
them. No, it's and we run around so much here too. It's just kind of like whatever you can snack on that's in the
Sure.
pan, and you just
Yeah.
keep walking by
Yeah.
and grabbing it. That works for us. I love it. Well, we are unbelievably excited to have you all here in studio
Yes.
today
It is
and
our
at
pleasure.
the shop. I know the guys. We keep having our shop guys like pop the door open. They're here.
Yeah.
They love the fact that they're making products that you enjoy and that your
Yeah.
people enjoy. It's a real cool thing for them to be able to experience that.
It is quality.
Well,
It's
and
quality
they
what
do
y'all
good.
put
They
out.
do good work,
do.
don't they?
Yeah.
They do.
Yeah, they take a lot of pride in that.
Yeah.
And that's what I love. We the guys that work in our shop back there. I've never met anybody like them.
Man.
It's a crew. I mean, I could ask them to do the dirtiest, worst job out there, and you got it.
Yep.
Whatever you need. And there's jobs sometimes where I'm like, I mean, I'll do it, and they're like, no, don't even worry about it. We got it.
Yeah.
So they will jump in and do anything you need and help anytime you need it, and it's they're pretty amazing. So we got an unbelievable crew here. We're very proud of them, and we're glad that it shows. And
Yeah.
that cowboy coffee recipe that you have, we put that in the Bertha manual, and we get people call about that all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
That's
love
great.
they love having that in there.
Yeah.
I think a lot of times that's the first thing they do.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause you
It's
can't-
the best way to
It's-
christen that steak.
I mean, you
is.
got to do
That's right.
something with it,
Yeah.
right? You don't want
Right.
to burn that piece of meat the first time
No,
or
yeah.
this or that. So it's like, just make some coffee, get used to the fire, get used to how
Yep.
it breathes.
Right.
It's a nice little opportunity. So, this Bertha's been doing great. The Roughnecks have been selling like absolute.
Yeah.
It's a madhouse in here with those Roughnecks. They're making some headway for sure. They're very happy with that smoker.
That's
Yeah.
good. Yeah, it's a good piece.
Yeah.
Love it. Well, if you guys are in the Tulsa area, you still got a little bit of time to head on down here 5 to 7 tonight to see Kent. Grab what's the name of the new book?
Comfort Food the Cowboy Way.
Comfort
you go.
Food, the Cowboy Way. So come grab a signed copy of that. I think we have a few copies left of the older ones that he can sign for you. But I mean, you get some seasoning he can sign for you.
Yeah.
Might as well. But
Sure.
come get a picture with him and Shan and
We'll
Mage
sign a
down
new
here.
Roughneck smoker you can just take home.
Yeah, you
Hey,
take
that's
one of
right.
them
I'm
home.
tell- you,
Yeah.
hey, have him come sign your arm, and then there's a tattoo shop across the
That's
street.
right. That's right.
Yeah, and we're actually doing tonight too. So if you're listening to this live and you are in the Tulsa area, sorry we can't do this for people. We got to ship these to. But if you're in the Tulsa area, we got about I think 10 or 12 Roughnecks that are assembled here in store, and we're going to let them go tonight for 10% off.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
if you want to
great.
come on down and you can take it with you tonight,
Yes.
we'll let you walk out the door with that. We don't normally put those on sale.
No, this would be the first time I think that we've
Yeah,
done.
it might be. 'Cause shipping's so expensive on those things.
Yeah.
But
Shipping's, ugh.
But if you can swing by and pick it up, you save us the trouble of having to package it all up and pay shipping to you. So we'll give you a little credit on that one. So come on down and hang out tonight. If you are not catching us, what is this, April 28th when we're recording it?
Yeah.
Drop a line in. Go give Kent, Cowboy Kent a follow on YouTube and Facebook. Like, subscribe, ring
Yeah.
the bell, do
Yeah.
all the
All
things.
the
All the
things.
things that you're supposed to do to stay up on it. I guarantee you will be pleasantly surprised at the stuff that drops into your inbox or comes across your YouTube notification. We get the emails as they come in.
You're very good about your emails.
Well, we
I
try.
had no
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah, we try. But yeah, you guys are great. I mean, I wake up in the morning and that thing's sitting in my inbox when I get up. So it's you do a good job on that.
Oh, thanks.
But yeah, join the mailing list and follow up with all that stuff. I mean, we really look forward to seeing them every week. So it's definitely a blessing to see that. Anything else you want to say to folks today?
Just God bless y'all. We hope you have safe travel. Just remember, it's a great day above the grass every day.
I love it.
That's right.
We'll catch y'all next time. Give them a follow. Real quick, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook handles. Is it Cowboy Kent
Just
Rollins?
Cowboy Kent Rollins. Yeah, you'll
Okay.
find us.
There you go.
And then Signed.
not hard
if
to
you do
find.
miss, if you can't catch us, the books at major book retailers, but also we've got signed copies they can get directly on our website, kentrollins.com.
KentRollins.com. Perfect.
All right.
I love it, guys. We will check you out next time. Thank you for following Smoke Bake Sear, and we'll catch up with you guys soon.
See ya.
Bye.
Thank you, brother. That's good.
Wait a minute, Pop, wait a minute. What's your best whiskey? Kentucky bourbon, 11 years